Hello science fans. Today we're diving into El Niño, a weather pattern that can shake up our entire winter. El Niño isn't a storm, but a shift in Pacific Ocean temperatures that changes weather worldwide. Picture the Pacific as a giant bathtub. Usually, one side is warmer, the other cooler. During El Niño, that warm water slides east and suddenly, weather everywhere is different. This can mean more rain, less snow, or even drought, depending on where you live. Why care? Because what happens in the Pacific doesn't stay in the Pacific. Warm water heats the air above, changing wind patterns, like rivers in the sky that carry weather across continents. A shift in these winds can bring floods to California, or mild winters to New England. Even food prices can change, as farmers deal with new growing conditions. Understanding El Niño helps us prepare for what's coming. This winter, scientists are watching closely. Signs point to a strong El Niño. That means our winter could look very different from last year. Some of us might swap snow boots for raincoats, others may brace for more storms. Knowing about El Niño helps us plan and stay safe. It's a powerful example of how connected our planet is. Science lets us see these connections and get ready. In this video, we'll explore how El Niño starts, what it's done before, and what it might do this winter. We'll also see how scientists predict these changes, and how you can prepare. Knowledge is power. By understanding El Niño, we can make smarter choices. Ready to learn how the Pacific Ocean can change your winter? Let's dive in. Title card: El Niño, the winter game changer. Quick montage: rain, snow, farmers, families preparing. Let's get started. Scene transition. Let's break down the science behind El Niño. It starts in the Pacific Ocean, near the equator. Normally, strong trade winds push warm water west toward Asia and Australia. Cold water rises near South America to replace it, keeping weather patterns stable. But during El Niño, those trade winds weaken or even reverse. Warm water drifts back east, heating up the central and eastern Pacific. This shift is the heart of El Niño, and it sets off a chain reaction. Warm water means more evaporation, more moisture in the air, and more rain, but in new places. Rainfall moves from Indonesia and Australia to the central and eastern Pacific. That means droughts in places that are usually wet, and floods where it's usually dry. This oceanic shift disrupts the Walker circulation, a giant loop of air over the Pacific. El Niño breaks this loop, changing the path of the jet streams. Jet streams are fast-moving air currents that steer storms around the globe. When El Niño shifts the jet stream, storms hit new places and temperatures change far away. That's why a change in the Pacific can mean wild weather across the world. Scientists track these changes to predict what's coming. Understanding this chain reaction is key to preparing for El Niño's impact. Quick animation, arrows showing wind and water movement. Next, let's see what El Niño has done in the past. Scene transition. To predict the future, we look to the past. The winter of 1997-98 was one of the strongest El Niños ever. Southern U.S. states like California were drenched. Floods, mudslides, and record rain. Florida saw more tornadoes than usual. Meanwhile, the northern U.S. had a mild winter. Less snow, lower heating bills, but tough times for ski resorts. El Niño creates winners and losers, often in the same country. Another strong event in 2015-16 brought similar patterns. Wet in the south, warm in the north. California's drought eased, but storms caused damage. The Great Lakes barely froze, and New York City had a spring-like December. These events give scientists valuable data to improve predictions. By comparing past El Niños, like 1982-83, 1997-98, and 2015-16, scientists spot patterns and refine their models. The lesson: El Niño is real, powerful, and shapes our lives in big ways. Studying history helps us prepare for what's next. Quick montage, news clips, flooded streets, empty ski slopes. So, what might this winter bring for the U.S.? Scene transition. Here's what scientists predict for the U.S. this El Niño winter. The South, from California to the Carolinas, will likely be wetter than usual. A stronger southern jet stream brings more storms and moisture. For California and the Southwest, this could mean relief from drought, but also a risk of floods and landslides. The Gulf Coast and Southeast may see cooler, stormier weather, with a chance of more winter tornadoes. In the north, expect a different story. warmer temperatures, and less snow. The polar jet stream stays farther north, so fewer cold snaps for cities like Chicago and Boston. Milder winters can mean savings on heating, but tough times for ski resorts and winter sports. Less snowpack in the mountains means less water for cities and farms in spring. Every region faces its own challenges, so local preparation is key. Map animation, storm tracks, temperature zones, but El Niño's reach goes far beyond the US. Scene transition. Quick cut. Families, farmers, city workers preparing. On-screen text. Plan ahead for your region. Scene transition. Music cue. End of scene. El Niño is a global event. Its effects ripple across continents. In Australia and Southeast Asia, El Niño often brings drought and higher wildfire risk. Farmers and ecosystems there brace for tough times. Meanwhile, Peru and Ecuador face heavy rains and flooding, threatening homes and crops. The fishing industry suffers as warm water blocks nutrient-rich currents, reducing fish stocks. Southern Africa may see drier, hotter conditions. Bad news for crops and food security. In Canada, expect a milder, less snowy winter, much like the northern US. Even Europe can feel El Niño's touch. Sometimes a colder, drier start to winter, then a milder, wetter finish. These global shifts show how connected our climate is. A change in one ocean can affect millions worldwide. Quick montage: bushfires, floods, empty fishing boats, dry fields. Let's see how scientists predict these changes. Scene transition. On-screen text. El Niño. A global force. Music cue. End of scene. Scene transition. How do scientists spot El Niño before it hits? They use a network of buoys across the Pacific, called the TAO array, to track ocean temperatures, winds, and more. These buoys send real-time data by satellite, letting scientists see the first signs of El Niño. When ocean temperatures stay high for months, it's official. El Niño is here, but predicting impacts takes more than just data. It takes powerful computer models. Scientists feed buoy and satellite data into these models to simulate how the ocean and atmosphere will interact. When models agree, like predicting a wet southern US winter, confidence in the forecast grows. No model is perfect, but technology has made predictions much more reliable. Thanks to these tools, we get months of warning to prepare. Quick animation buoys, data streams, computer models. So how can you use this knowledge to get ready? Scene transition. On-screen text. Science in action. Music cue. End of scene. Knowing about El Niño is great. Being prepared is even better. In the south, expect more rain and possible floods. Check your roof, clean gutters, and have an emergency kit ready. If you live in a flood-prone area, know your evacuation routes and keep supplies for at least 3 days. Include flashlights, food, water, medications, and a battery-powered radio. Review your insurance coverage for flood damage. In the north, a milder winter can mean icy roads. Keep salt or sand handy and wear good boots. Make sure your family has an emergency plan and knows what to do in a power outage. Write down important phone numbers in case your cell dies. Preparedness isn't about fear, it's about confidence. A few simple steps can help your family handle whatever this winter brings. Quick montage. Families prepping. Emergency kits. Farmers and gardeners. Here's what you need to know. Scene transition.
Know you've been a good friend.
El Niño can be a blessing or a challenge for agriculture. In the south, extra rain can help crops, but too much can flood fields and spread plant diseases. Farmers should improve drainage, plant cover crops, and keep equipment ready for short dry spells. Gardeners. Watch for pests and consider raised beds for better drainage. In the north, less snow means less spring water. Plan for irrigation and consider drought-tolerant crops. Ranchers may need extra feed if grass growth is low. Water conservation and efficient irrigation are smart moves. Gardeners can enjoy a longer season for cool weather veggies, but watch watering needs. Planning ahead is the key to a good harvest. Quick montage: fields, greenhouses, irrigation. Finally, let's wrap up with how to stay smart and safe this winter. Scene transition. On-screen text. Plan, prepare, prosper. End of scene. El Niño reminds us how connected our world is. This winter, expect wetter, stormier weather in the south, and milder, drier conditions in the north. Thanks to science, we have early warning and time to prepare. Families can make emergency plans. Farmers can adjust strategies. Cities can get ready for floods or drought. Understanding El Niño turns uncertainty into action. Stay tuned to local forecasts for day-to-day updates. Talk with your family and community about how to stay safe. A prepared community is a strong one. Use this knowledge to stay curious, ready, and resilient. El Niño is powerful, but with preparation, we can handle whatever comes. Quick montage: families, farmers, city workers. Stay safe, stay curious, and have a great winter. End card. Learn more. Be prepared. Share knowledge. End of script.